Guys, we gotta talk. Oh boy, do we have to talk today. Before we get started, yeah, I'm wearing the WrestleMania shirt from 2019. WrestleMania just happened a couple days ago. It was crazy. Not as good as I thought it was going to be. Still pretty good, but not the right video. We gotta talk about something huge that happened yesterday. Now, I wanted to make a video on this yesterday, but I couldn't find the time to do it. So, poof, here we are. You guys already know where I'm going with this, not just because the thumbnail and the title. That's just a given. But you guys already know where I'm going with this. You just know me. You guys just know me by now. We are going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Julian Edelman. And this isn't a breakdown of Julian Edelman's career. This isn't that type of video. This is going to be more like a tribute. A tribute to a fantastic wide receiver who played his entire career for the Patriots, had some tremendous moments, and walks away one of the best. So obviously by now, all you guys know that Julian Edelman yesterday failed a physical for the Patriots. He's been having some injuries. He's got a huge injury history. He's missed a ton of games in the past couple of seasons. So he failed his physical. The Patriots released him upon failing the physical because he can't stay healthy anymore. He's getting up there in age. He just can't stay healthy anymore. So the Patriots released him. I'm sure it was a mutual thing. I'm sure Edelman probably agreed with it. And then a few hours later or right after, I don't know really when it happened, he announced that he was retiring from the league. Now, this was a little bit shocking. It was a little bit shocking to me because I thought he would go to Tampa. I thought that maybe Tom would see that Edelman got released by the Patriots, ring him up, and be like, hey, Jules, you want to come down to Tampa, win a Super Bowl? And Jules would be like, yeah, I want to go down and win a Super Bowl. And then they team up in Tampa. But apparently, unless this could all be speculation, but maybe Tom, if there's anybody that's going to get Edelman to come out of retirement or to rethink retiring, it's going to be Tom, obviously. So I don't know whether or not it's going to even happen. Maybe they had a phone call and Edelman said, I don't want to play anymore. I just want to retire. So maybe that's the thing. But I'm assuming that's probably not. But Edelman retires, and this is big news. I personally, when Edelman first came onto the scene, I did not like him. I know that's a shock to say because now he's one of my favorite players of all time in Patriots history. But I just didn't think that he was going to be that great. I didn't think that he had what it takes to be a top-of-the-line receiver. I never thought he would be a number one. I didn't think he was that good. Because he was a quarterback in college. He was transitioning to wide receiver. And back then, you got to think back then, not many people transitioned from quarterback to wide receiver, let alone transition from quarterback to wide receiver and made it work and did fantastic. Like, nobody was really doing that back then. Edelman did it coming out of college, turned into a wide receiver, played special teams, did everything he had to do, and became one of the best receivers in Patriots history. At least in playoff history. And I was a fan of Wes Welker when he was here in New England. And when he left, I didn't think that there was anybody that was going to replace him. And then Edelman kind of filled that role. He kind of replaced him. And I didn't really like Edelman. I hated his guts for a while. Not personally or anything. I just didn't like him as a player. Then he started to grow on me. He started to perform to a level where I could respect him. And then I got to the point where I liked him. And then I got to the point where I loved him. I love me some Julian Edelman. And don't even get me started on playoff Edelman, because playoff Edelman's a different beast. Like, the catch in the Falcons Super Bowl, unbelievable. Just that's a Hall of Fame catch. Unbelievable. So we're not even going to talk about that. That's a whole different thing. So this is my raw reaction too. Like, I've been processing this, but it's still kind of raw, even a day later. So I don't know. I think the Patriots are in a good situation, even with Edelman going down. I was basing this season, and I wasn't factoring in Edelman, because for the past couple seasons, you really can't factor in Edelman. He's been hurt. He's missed some games. He hasn't really produced to the level that he usually produced, and maybe that's because he didn't have Tom last season. Maybe it's because he didn't have, Cam was thrown to, I don't know. But he never really performed to the level that he used to. He was getting up there in age. I just thought it was getting close to the time. I didn't actually think that it was going to happen. Like, I especially didn't think the Patriots were going to release him. I thought he would just retire. I didn't think that that the release would be first. So it's just a little bit shocking to me that it actually happened where he was released and then retired. I thought it would just be retired. So I don't think this affects New England in any way. I think they were already prepping for not having Edelman. I don't think this factors in with their draft process. I still think they go for a quarterback. I don't think that the Edelman retirement makes them change their mind and I don't think they go for a wide receiver in the first round. To me, Edelman is always going to be one of the best in New England history. He's always going to be just a phenomenal player, one of the best playoff receivers I've ever seen in my life. Fun fact, he's got the second most catches in playoff history, only behind Jerry Rice. Some of the plays that he made in the Super Bowls and in the playoffs in general, unforgettable. The touchdown throw to Danny Amendola against the Ravens, I think in either the AFC Championship or the divisional round, either one, just phenomenal. Stuff like that. Like, people don't really realize the stuff that Edelman did. Anything that the Patriots said, Edelman did. He played special teams. He played quarterback. He played wide receiver. He just did everything that you wanted out of a player. He was the consummate professional. He was the guy behind Tom Brady and behind Gronk. And like, you don't think about New England in the past decade without thinking about the big three: Brady, Gronk, and Edelman. That's who you think about when you think of New England, besides thinking about Belichick and Kraft and all that. You don't think, if you're thinking about players, you think of Brady, Belichick, you think of Brady, Gronk, Edelman. The three players, the big three. Now they're all gone. So it's definitely a new era in New England, which I'm not really upset about, depending on what they do in the offseason with the draft and stuff. We'll get into that later with my thoughts on what the Patriots will do in the draft. So I guess to wrap things up, there's been a question going around now that Edelman's retired, going around on Twitter. Is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer? Now, I know that this whole video so far has been me praising Edelman, saying how great he is of a wide receiver. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. If we are just counting the playoffs, if we take the playoffs alone, I think Edelman's a Hall of Famer. Just on the playoffs alone. What he did in the playoffs, in the Super Bowls, in the playoffs, that's Hall of Fame worthy. But I don't think that he has the regular season acumen and the regular season to back up what he did in the playoffs. There are players in NFL history that are playoff guys that didn't really perform that great in the regular season, but when the playoffs came, they stepped it up and they played Hall of Fame level that aren't in the Hall of Fame. So it's a tough choice. It's not up to me. I don't have a vote who gets in the Hall of Fame. So, in my opinion, you know what? I'd put him in. I'd put him in solely based on what he did in the postseason. Yeah, he had a great regular season career. That's one thing. But he turned it up 2-3 notches when it came to the postseason. He was a different player in the postseason. He did whatever it took to get the down that he needed to get. If he needed to get a 3rd down and 3, he was going to get the 3rd down and 3. You could trust him. You could count on him. You could bet your mortgage that Julian Edelman was going to get that 1st down or get that play. He was going to catch that ball. That's how different of a player he became in the postseason. So, I'm changing my mind. Solely based on the postseason, I would put Julian Edelman in the Hall of Fame. Now, I know that a lot of the talking heads, the big Sports Center analysts are probably going to say that Edelman's not a Hall of Famer, and that's fine. They don't have a vote either, so they don't really, their opinions really don't matter that much. My opinion, I'm not saying my opinion matters. It does in the grand scheme of things, because I don't have a vote. So, but I would, based on what he did in the postseason and how great he was, I'd put him in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, you could say, who knows how good he would have been in the postseason if he didn't have Brady throwing in the football. But that argument shouldn't factor in, because you could say that about anything. How good's Jerry Rice if he doesn't have Joe Montana and Steve Young throwing in the football? How good is Calvin Johnson if Matt Stafford's not throwing in the football? How good is, I don't know, Hines Ward if Ben Roethlisberger's not throwing in the football? I don't know. So you could say that about anything. So in my opinion, right here on this channel, in my book, Julian Edelman is worthy of the Hall of Fame. So you guys can let me know down below what you guys think. If you think he's worthy of the Hall of Fame, if you think he's not, if you think that he is just a bad player, I don't know. Let me know down below what you guys think about him getting released and retiring. If you were shocked by it, whatever. Just let me know down below what you guys think about this whole situation and what you think about it, if he's a possible Hall of Fame participant or candidate. And let me know down below. Just whatever you think. Just tell me whatever you think, good or bad. I don't care. Just if you hate me for what I've said, tell me down below. I want to know. I'll like your comment. I won't delete it. I trust me. I just go check my other videos. The comments on those videos, they're pretty nasty, and I haven't deleted them. So just if you hate me, if you want to say that I don't understand football, if you want to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, just tell me. Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. So let me know down in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, join the Juice Club. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.